Hello, my loves. Welcome back to Chemistry with Kismet Tarot. My name is Monica, and today we are going into Scorpio energy. You may have Scorpio as your rising sign, as your sun sign, as your moon sign. You may have it as your 4th house, as your 5th house. You may have it as your 11th house. It doesn't matter where Scorpio is in your chart. It only matters that this resonates with you at the time that you watch it and that it applies to your natal chart. These are intended to be readings for you, not about anyone else outside of you. Even if there is outside energies that come into these readings, these are really about your inner world and helping you to grow and to change. Now, Scorpio, I have literally 2 pages of channeled messages for you. And this weird thing happened when I was prepping for your energy. For the first time with all the readings, and I am almost done with the sign readings. You guys are I think, 4th from last. It was like you needed all the information, all of the energy out and on the table right away. So these 5 tarot cards, I've been pulling them on the screen, like as I'm doing the reading. But for yours, it was like, okay, no, I need all the information. I need everything laid out. It's time to see it all, to know it all, so that I can work through everything that I need to work through. And I greatly respect that, because I am someone who is very similar to that, where it's like, okay, let's cut through the bullshit. Let's cut through all of the fluff, and let's get to the core of the issues. Let's get to the core of what's going on, because it's time for a change to happen. It's time for something to shift. Now, these cards over here are intended, I'm not going to be divining these. These are just for your usage later on. And that's the last one. It's like self-love questions and sacred symbols and just a couple oracle cards for you guys to work through and to dive deeper into this reading if you so choose. If you don't want to do that, that's no problem. It's ultimately your decision, because this is your journey. These are just things that I'm offering. But with that, you guys got a core oracle card to start this off. This whole reading is intended to be about the current archetypal energy that you guys are working in. Sorry, my computer is having issues with like focusing because there's so much stuff in the background. So I'm trying to get it at there we go. And the energy that you have here is the Grove with the card 21. And I just want to show it to you quickly. I know that there's there we go. So we've got the Grove in the card 21. But this is about the archetypal energy that you're in. And then we've got the Angel Tarot and the Demon Tarot on each side. And this is intended to be like the angel and the demon on your shoulder that pop up, like those 90s sitcoms, and they tell you, do this or do that. And one of them is your conscience, and the other one is like the shadow aspect of you that's like, just do it the easy way. So we're going to dive into that in time, but I'm going to go through the channeled messages first, and then we'll go through the channeled messages on the archetypal phase, the angel, the demon, and then what came after that. So we're just kind of going to go in the flow of these 2 pages that I have, and then we'll get into the cards and everything. But I actually channeled this last night for you at 9:08 p.m. or 21:08. I tend to use 24-hour time clock. And your energy was it was right there. It was ready. It was like, no, we need to get these messages in. We need to get this handled. So there's an energy here in starting with the Grove plus a sacred animal. And I know it's a cat in the picture, but I actually was getting that it's different for everyone. So like, I have 2 very, very profound familiars, and you can see Winifred right up here. Okay, she can't actually, I'm not actually scratching her ear. But she's over here, and Willow is actually outside with my other 2 dogs. But Willow and Winifred are my 2 familiars. So I have 2 sacred animals that stay in my life. So you could have more than one. But this is about your inner peace, and your inner peace being found in the midst of changes in your outer world, especially. Within you have peace, if you remember that peace is always the beginning, the ending, and the rebirth of creative living, Scorpio. That was a direct message that I got for you, and I thought it was so beautiful because I was seeing the Ouroboros energy, but I was also seeing like the lemniscat, like an Ouroboros lemniscat. So the Ouroboros is a snake eating its own tail, but I was seeing it in the shape of an infinity symbol. And it was this understanding that we create create our existence. We have a beginning and we have an ending, and these two meet each other all the time. And we go back through the rebirth. And so every beginning is an ending and every ending is a beginning. And we're always creating this life. And when we realize that we're the creators of our lives, then we realize that there are outside circumstances, and even things that feel like they're inside circumstances. Say it might be, for me, there's a lot of stuff going on with my physical health, and that can seem like an internal thing. And in some ways it is. Excuse me, I had to yawn. In some ways it is an internal thing, but I'm learning so many things about my outer world, my connections, my interactions, the way that I use my voice, the honesty that I move through my life with, and just learning to advocate for sharing my voice, understanding that it might cause someone discomfort. But if I'm direct and I'm honest and I'm coming from the heart, that is all I can do. I don't control anybody else's reactions. But when it's something that's within us, like a physical illness, we can feel like we're doing everything wrong. And then we can go looking for outside help and we don't always find it. I know for me, and especially me lately, me trying to find outside help has actually become more toxic. It's been like, and I laugh because it's so uncomfortable and it has been so traumatic for me. And my doctors this last week, towards the end of the week, literally gave me medicine and got me referrals out of town. And they said they were giving me these medicines as a Band-Aid. And we understand that they're Band-Aid fixes because I need to not ever go to the hospital that's here in town. The hospital that is here in the city that I live in is better at killing people than they are at healing people, because they don't see people as something to heal. They see people as money that they can earn. And sometimes they can get more money by not treating people. And that was the issue that I had. And we can feel like, if I could just fix my inner world, if I could just fix this problem myself, if I could find the dis-ease that's causing this, then I wouldn't have to go through these things. But that's not always what it is. Sometimes our inner world changes, our inner health changes, our physical health changes. And it's not because we're doing something wrong, but simply because it's part of the path that we're meant to be on. There was a beginning and an ending and a rebirth. And in that rebirth involved something that is a challenge, something that is a struggle. And it is up to us to come into a place of inner peace and realize that what this is teaching us has something to do with our outer world. It has something to do with our perspective. Wow, Scorpio, that wasn't even written. Okay. And then I got a message that signs out in the world may seem really elusive or dualistic for you. So there may be this like sense of spirit creating confusion, or your guides creating confusion externally. And it's not intended to harm you. And it's not because you're doing anything wrong. It is intended to turn you right back to your heart, to bring you back to your inner world, your heart, your soul, that which you know and feel to be true from within. So when we have all this conflict or this duality outside of ourselves, and we're being pulled in a multitude of different directions, oftentimes we're being pulled those ways because there is only one way to go, and that is within. And everybody goes within in a different way. I could tell you how I go within. I do a lot of journaling. I do a lot of like really self-honest journaling. And when I know I'm not being honest with myself, I will stop what I'm writing. I'll put like a dash or an ellipses, so 3 dots. And I'll be like, okay, no, I have to be honest with myself. This is genuinely how I'm feeling. I'm trying to paint it this way, but this is genuinely how I'm feeling. And I just pour it out. And then I'll talk about the ways that these feelings make me think this, or these thoughts come up with that, so that I can address that dissonance that occurs within myself. That's how I go within. But that took me years to cultivate. And it is something that I learned you have to be willing for. You have to be willing to do things like that. So Scorpio, when you are being called back within yourself, it's what is your willingness to look within? What is your willingness to listen to yourself? And sometimes, and this is no offense, Scorpio, because this is how it is with all fixed signs, no matter where you have it in your chart, that is where you have that tendency to do things as hard as humanly possible. You look at the easy way and you're like, nope. I'm going to do it this way. And we do it that way because we want to challenge what other people say, because sometimes the easiest way is not the right way. Sometimes we really genuinely are meant to do it the hard way. And sometimes we are meant to learn that that easy way is only easy because it involves help from others, because it involves something else that we think that we don't have or that we don't fully understand, and we don't know how to ask. So your shadow right now and your light right now are both ready to clear the clutter of the things that make you go through the things in that hard way, from the gate to your inner garden of peace and prosperity. And that's really what I was getting from the Grove card, is that there's a gate that has too much shit in front of it. There's clutter in front of it. And I just saw 1111. So this is about you really taking charge now, because you deserve to feel that peace and that prosperity, because it's part of your innate nature. This is a gift that you have been bestowed upon the second that you took your first breath, upon the second that you came into this world. Your soul incarnated into this world. When your soul chose to incarnate into this world, your soul chose to have peace and to have prosperity in this grove, inside your heart, inside your soul, and for that to be able to be brought out into your life. But we do have to go through phases and challenges and upheavals and battles and dissonance and people coming at us and us just feeling beat down by the world. We need to go through these things. And it's important to go through these things. It genuinely is important to go through these things, because these are the bread and butter of our growth. These are the things that lead us back to ourselves to say, you know what? If all of the rest of the outside world isn't going to see it within me, I will see it within myself. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't care how long it's going to take. I don't care what work I have to put in, but I'm going to find it within myself. So your archetypal phase, and I just got my nails redone. So I'm relearning how to use my fingers essentially. Your archetypal phase right now is the Merchant. And it says self-worth and trade, and we've got earth energy here. And I love that it has scales, because Libra is another air sign that deals with scales, but I was getting more of like a Six of Pentacles feeling here. And then I picked up a lot of earth energy. I got Virgo and Taurus being felt really strongly here. One is your sister and your counterbalance. The part of you that is calling for valuation rather than negation. That's that Taurian energy, that they're your opposite sign. So they want you to value that part of yourself as well. And the other energy calls to you to be held in a more functionally fluid way, to teach you to see that your worth is more valuable than the demands of others, and to set your standards to the vibration and resonance of equality and mutual respect. And that's that Virgoan energy. So this is about you really understanding that in the world of trading or exchanging energies, the way that we do this in balance is by understanding what we are worth, and then valuing that, and valuing the resonance that we hold in our hearts and our souls, and recognizing that we come forth into the world with a specific vibration, and it is up to the outside world to match that vibration. Now, the angel on your shoulder, or the angel here, this is your conscious influence. This is what you're already aware of. And I thought this was really cool, because this means that the upheaval and the uproar that you're going through is something you already know. So this is it's going to reflect. So you have the Tower with Uriel and the Fire of God. And this is considered, because Uriel is an archangel, this is considered like similar to the major arcana, even though the major arcana are just kind of mixed in there. And this card itself says disruption and warns of disasters and aids in transformation. But As soon as I touched this card, it was like, yes, I felt the tower energy, but Uriel's face looks so mad, and he's like painted as a baby here. And it's like, can you diminish me anymore in this world? And there's an important lesson that's found as old narratives are broken down through the divine fires of truth in your life right now, Scorpio. There was a time where those in power sought for Uriel to be forgotten. With this, the truth of the divine creator, including things like past life wisdom, were meant to be erased from the world. Yet the truth divine will always burn out the lies. And this is now the energy which is coming forth in waves of heat in your life. So the tower energy that I picked up from you is like these waves of fire just burning shit away from your life. And when that happens, we come back down to our foundations. And at your foundation, there is the fire of God, the truth of God. Uriel was I think it was the Orthodox Catholic Church or something along those lines. They removed Uriel from the Bible, and they removed Uriel from the Bible because they were afraid of idolatry. They weren't afraid of idolatry when it came to Jesus, but they were afraid of idolatry when it came to an archangel. But the thing is we don't idolize truth. We value it. Truth is something to value and to hold to. And that's really important here. And this is in your conscious influence. So it's about you recognizing that there are truths that are ready to come forth. And when I tapped into your demon energy or the unconscious influences, you have Piccolus. I'll have you look at him because he's a interesting little guy. But Piccolus, he gets kind of mixed with Hades energy as the Lord of the Dead and whatever. But he also talks about family feuds, and he has been known to be at the deathbed of these very prominent figures, and especially heads of the household. And if in the past, it has been said that if he isn't given his due or given an offering in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a lighted candle or whatever he asks for, he creates feuds amongst families. Feuds over nothing. And it literally comes down to feuds about not knowing each other. And so the message that I got from him is family and feuds in the modern world has become a comedic game show of common knowledge. Yet do we truly remember the nature of feuds in our own families? The causation and the value of holding on to them. Just as in your consciousness, transformation comes through destroying lies through the truth. In your unconscious, it is pushed upon your mind, and I was getting a lot of dream revelations, so this stuff is coming through in your dreams, to question what lies you have accepted from your upbringing because it simply has always been that way. We can't always have hindsight in the past if we look through the lens of the conditioning from others. To see clearly, we must go through our own inner truths. The inner grove or inner garden of our hearts, where our souls flourishing divine truths grow in unconditional love. Old feuds from grudges born come when losses, impact, and pain is ignored. All death physically of those we love causes pain, but offer healing and growth. Fire burns, but nerves regrow in time. Will you choose to face the pain of loss? Find your inner healing and let the truth come from the destruction. Let love come. Let the past wither to those who never chose to learn this lesson offered. Your worth and that of equality is not meant to be traded for the continuity of wounds never yours to carry. Equality comes through honoring the dead with truth, love, and purity of heart. Scorpio, all you seek in understanding, it is really to arise if you but choose truth with an open third eye, deep soul wisdom born of a knowing heart, that peace comes as pain is felt and departs. Letting go and changing the past sets you on a growth journey of loved. Oh, there's a word there that I can't read. Of loved and vast. I don't know. Wide and vast, I think is what it's supposed to say. I was writing so fast that it wasn't coming through. But essentially, what this is saying, and it's such a beautiful message that I channeled, it's saying that we look through the lens of other people, of their conditioning, of their belief systems, and we look at ourselves through that, and we look at others through that, and we make these decisions, these choices, these options, these opinions. We create a character of someone in our minds, and we decide that this is just how it has to be. And we don't give that person a chance, whether we are getting that from someone else or it's because we were told that this role has to be this way. And Scorpio, right now, there are things tumbling down around you because all of those things are being challenged. If you undergo all of these changes and you see that you get the choice to embrace the peace rather than the chaos and the conflict, what does that change in your life? Changes everything, because it means that you move more authentically, and it means that you get to drop all of the conflict and all of the drama from the past, put the burden back on the people who have created it, and say, you know what, my hands are clean of this. I'm not going to move in this energy anymore. I'm not going to move through that energy anymore. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move through divine truth. And people can be uncomfortable by divine truth because it is the fire of God. And when you get burned by the fire of God, you have to regrow your nerves. It doesn't mean that you are hurting people intentionally. It means that you're honoring your divinity and your divine calling. And the reason why you're here and breathing. And that is that it just matters more. So this first card is what you don't see about the current archetypal phase. I love this. What you don't see about the current archetypal phase is death. It's literally yourself. You don't see yourself yet. You don't see that you're passing beyond this veil of what was. You're letting things die. You're letting an old way of being die. You're literally like embodying yourself, but you don't see it clearly yet. Because when we have been looking through the lens of what everybody else says, then we're constantly giving ourselves to these narratives, and these narratives control us. And when we step out of that, then we say, no. And I mean this, I'm joking. I'm being a little bit sarcastic here because I feel like you guys need to loosen that up and be like, okay, I get it. But I'm not saying that it isn't a challenge. I'm not saying it doesn't hurt. When other people project upon you this image of who you aren't, the conflict and the chaos that can ensue from that, it holds the potential to last years, lifetimes. I am literally navigating my way through my husband's ex-wife and her hatred of me, her perceptions of me that have nothing to do with me because she doesn't know me. She doesn't know me. What she knows is that I advocate for my family and my children, and I won't do things her way. And that makes her uncomfortable. But I'm not one to be controlled. I know what is right for my kids. I know what is right for my family. I know what is right for my home. And that's what I stick to because that is healthy. That is love. That is healing. That's what we have found. But when we go based off of someone else's perceptions and beliefs and opinions and desires, then what we're doing is we're breaking down who we are. We are trading our self-worth in order to try and make things work because we desire peace. But peace comes from within. Peace is not going to be found when there is disruption and negativity outside in the world around us because someone has to create it. Peace comes from within in knowing that I've spoken my truth and my truth is all I have. And you can perceive things however you want, but I'm not carrying that and I'm not taking the blame for it. I've done my due diligence, I've done my duty, and I have looked through your lens, and your lens does not work for me. So what you don't see right now is that all of this is for you to be you, to embody yourself, and to live this life more true and authentic to you. You are the bringer of death. You are the bringer of change. You are the bringer of transformation. But when we bring it out into the world, without bringing it to ourselves, we're bringing more dissonance. If we bring it to ourselves first, then we can present it to the world. And they may see it in that fuzzy way. They may see that fuzziness and think it's off, or they begin to see it as the blessing and the beauty that it is, for what you offer in this transformation, in this death process, is a rebirth. You offer a chance to pass through the veil and experience life anew. What is the challenge for you? The Prince of Wands. The challenge for you is how much you want to just go and get shit done. How much you want to just let it go. But if you're going and they have Ron here, and I think about Ron in the second book, and he had a broken wand and he wanted to fight. He really did. Like, he was so ready to fight, especially when Malfoy called Hermione a mudblood. He was so ready to fight that he tried to make him eat slugs, and his wand backfired on him. And that is the challenge. It's recognizing that you can have this fiery energy, even though you're a fire or a water sign, Scorpio. Boy, I tell you what, your torrential waters can sometimes feel like a burning fire. And I say that with love, because I have a lot of Scorpionic energy in my chart, a lot of Plutonian energy in my chart, a lot of Mars energy in my chart. I have an abundance of water energy, but I'm also very fiery. And these two energies normally should be able to cancel each other out. In my chart, they seem to just fuel each other and fight harder. But with your Prince of Wands, the challenge for this cycle is letting yourself grow beyond reaction. It's letting yourself get beyond that initial, I'm going to hit you where it hurts because you're being an asshole. When we stop doing that, we stop giving that false narrative of ourselves power, because people will create this impression of us when we are reactive. But when we become responsive, when we become introspective, when we are clear and we are honest, that makes them reactive oftentimes, because they don't know how to handle it and they've never seen that before. So Scorpio, that is something that you are being challenged with now. Can you slow down and let this death process happen for you? See yourself more clearly and then move from there first. And I can't answer that, but I can offer you an area of help. So we have the 9 of Swords, and it is Mars in Gemini, and it says cruelty. And this is when Harry is writing, I will not tell lies, and it's being etched on his hand. And it's somebody accusing him of lying when he didn't. Now, Mars with Gemini, it calls to the abandonment wound and the abandoning father, and the ways in which growth and change and time changes that storyline. So Mars was the father of Romulus and Remus Remus's mother was human and a princess. And she was supposed to kill her children because the king was threatened by the fact that they were part divine. They were part God. They were demigods, essentially. And so Mars, instead of looking the other way, swooped in and saved his sons by making sure that they were raised by the wolf Luna. And these boys grew up to become great rulers, to establish Rome. And they have correlative energy with Castor and Pollux in Greek mythology, without quite as much of the sexual scandals and traumas and dramas. But there can be this cruelty that we feel, or others can try and push a cruelty onto us. And that's really what this is. Usually the 9 of Swords is about being caught in your head. But in this case, this particular 9 of Swords is about the cruelty of others, because they push on you and push on you and push on you and tell you that what you're saying is a lie, even though you know it to be true. And they say that it's a lie because they're vindictive. They say that it's a lie because they don't like your truth. Your truth makes them uncomfortable because it challenges some part of them. Now, in this case, this is about umbrage, someone who was a superior. What you can do, where you can find help, is in recognizing when someone is just reacting because they have some sort of wound within them and they can't accept what you're saying because it scares them, because it challenges them. And then recognizing that it's not your fault and you don't have to take their punishments and you don't have to take their cruelty and you don't have to take that into yourself and let it wound you and let it leave a scar. You can walk away. You can stop being reactive, but you can also walk away from the reactivity of others that hurts you so deeply and let yourself see who you truly are. Going through this death phase, going through this transformation phase, let yourself see this part of you. And find that help by recognizing when someone is telling a false narrative and choosing not to react, but to respond in the time that it's right for you. This is how you can connect with your higher self. We have the 9 of Pentacles with gain. And in this, this is your Virgo energy. Okay. And with this energy, this is the room of requirement. So this is about you gaining what it is that you need. Your higher self, your inner self has what you need, and especially your inner self, because that is where you find that grove, that garden of freedom, that garden of inner peace and inner prosperity. That is where you gain what you need. Now, remember, Virgoan energy came through and talked about how this is the time for you to move with the expectation of equality. If that equality isn't given, you can call it out or you can walk away. But what is it that you need for you to gain your independence from the external perspectives and the family, feuds that don't need to be there? They don't need to be there anymore. You don't have to carry those things anymore. You don't have to choose that life anymore. It is 100% up to you. Going within and recognizing that you contain everything that you need for yourself, that is so huge. That is so important. That is how you connect with your inner self and where you find that inner peace. So let's get connected with your shadow. We have conflict with the 5 of Swords and Saturn in Leo. So Saturn in Leo challenges who we believe ourselves to be. What are the effects of us moving in a way that is inauthentic to who we are? Are you shining your light or are you sheltering your light? When we have conflict, we really tend to not be our best selves. So when we have this conflict, it's asking us to look within ourselves. What are we repressing in who we are? Why are we acting out of a reactive state? Where did we learn to move from that area of our lives or in that way? For me, I learned that reactive control is arguably the best way to parent until I learned that it is the absolute worst way to parent. Reactive control is one of the most damaging, toxic ways that I could have ever parented, and it's how I was parented. So I chose a different path. Now I'm dealing with someone who is a reactive parent. And that brings harm to everyone involved. And it's sad. And it's 33:33 on the clock. So that might be significant for you guys. 1s and 3s. 13 is your number. So, there is that. But I'm dealing with a reactive parent, somebody who needs to know everything, who needs to control everything, and who needs to diminish everybody who doesn't go in that direction. And I'm learning how to speak out about it. I'm learning how to see the conflict and to move in a different way. Not in the way of the Prince of Wands where I'm just trying to burn shit to the ground, but in a way that says, okay, let's transform this. Let's look at this in a different light. Let's see where things have been said and done and reacted to and responded to in ways that have been so toxic and so detrimental. And then ask yourself why. I'm not taking the burdens of someone else's actions onto my shoulders. I did nothing. I didn't hurt her. I didn't take anything from her. I came into her life years after she had ended her marriage, and she was already with somebody else and getting remarried. So there's so much water under the bridge. There's no causality that I can find except that I don't allow her to control me or my family or my home. Her way is not my way. And her way does not mean that I have to be thrown to the wolves or that I should be shown the highway or the door. And that is something that I fought really hard for. But when I was fighting through conflict and shining out a light that meant that I was somebody who I really wasn't, that's when the effect of it meant that other people were going to be projecting what they believed me to be. Now I'm moving through a different light. So this is about you getting down into your shadows and saying, where is it that I have internal conflict with who I am? Where do I conflict with this part of me that I don't want to see yet because I don't know how to necessarily accept it? And Scorpio, that's okay. We don't always know necessarily how to accept ourselves. I was never taught. That may be some of your storylines. You may have been taught, but you were taught how to love yourself based off of the lens of somebody else, not with what you need. And we are all uniquely individual. So this is about things getting shed from you so that you can find that inner peace, so that you can navigate your way through the conflicts and through the cruelty of the things that come up in the world and the people that come into your life. And you can say, you know what? It's fine. It's fine. Because I see my life correctly, because I see myself accurately, authentically, and I live from that space. So this is the advice that I have for you. I'm going to go ahead and get you guys your reflective cards. We're going to start with a symbol. We have focus in 24. Where are you ready to take aim? Sagittarius season may be significant for you. The 6th house may be significant for you. You guys may be 24. You may look at the second progressive charts, secondary progression charts. I don't know why that came through how it did. But then we have meditation with the card 25. And look, we've got 24 and 25. So this is progress. Focus on what your mind needs, what your heart needs, what your soul needs, what your body needs, not what anybody else says. This meditative time for you is the perfect time for you to see what you don't want to see about yourself or what you struggle to see about yourself. So then we have this question card, and this is an oracle of the radiant sun. And I was told very specifically when these come out to give you your question card because the radiant sun is where this is going to apply, and it's up to you to look at how it fits in your life. So it says, what is the price for waiting before making a decision? I'm going to make sure that this focuses so you guys can look. What is the price for waiting before making a decision? And if you guys can see the pen marks, I've already journaled on this question. What is the price for waiting before making a decision? When we are toggling back and forth between deciding something in some way in our lives, we don't always realize that the longer that we take, the more energy unravels into the indecision. What is the price for waiting before making a decision? And then we have Jupiter and Sagittarius with principle. That makes so much sense. I want you to think about your principles. So what is the price for waiting before making a decision? How does it challenge your principles? How does it challenge your expansion? How does it challenge your growth? How does it challenge your beliefs? How does it challenge the things that matter most to you? And where can focus and meditation come in to help with that? And like I said, I wasn't going to divine these cards, and then I did it. So Scorpio, this is the message that I have for you guys. Thank you for being such an awesome energy. Thank you for going through what you're going through. I resonate so deeply with this energy, and I understand it so deeply. And I hope that me sharing my wisdom and my experiences and my current situation, because it is very current and very ongoing, I hope that it helps you understand that you're not alone in the struggle. You're not alone in the challenge. Even if it looks a little bit differently than mine, you're still not alone in it. There is solidarity in that. And there is comfort that is meant to come through in that. And so I thank you for allowing me to share, for being open and receptive to that. I also want to say thank you to your guides, to my guides, to your ancestors, to the Great Spirit, to the cosmic waves and their professorial energies teaching us about life and love and cause and effect and all the things that our soul came here to remember. Thank you. And thank you to the Divine Creator for the unconditional love you pour through these readings. You pour into the collective. You pour into me to pour into others. Thank you. Thank you for the collective of Scorpios, for all those this reaches, for all those impacted. Thank you. All right, Scorpio. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to leave you here. I love you all so, so much, and I will see you at my next reading. Bye.